Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Battle Cry. This week, we're moving away from the weapons that we usually show you and putting our spotlight on the unforgettable heroes of India's military. Many of them and their families felicitated by the President of India in an unforgettable, heartbreaking ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. In case you missed it, Battle Cry is the show to watch for the next 30 minutes. Since June last year, he has been India's most well-recognized Indian Army officer. Colonel Santosh Babu, hero of the Galwan Valley clash, was felicitated with the Mahavir Chakra, the second highest wartime gallantry medal in the week gone by. His wife, Santoshi, and his mother, Manjula, were there to receive the posthumous honor.
Colonel Santosh Babu ने शत्रु का मुकाबला करते हुए असाधारण वीरता, अनुकरणीय नेतृत्व क्षमता एवं अद्वितीय कर्तव्य परायणता का परिचय दिया एवं भारतीय सेनाओं की उच्चतम परंपराओं के अनुरूप अपना सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया। स्वर्गीय कर्नल पिकुमाला संतोष बाबू की पत्नी,
his wife Santoshi and his mother Manjula,
श्रीमती पिकुमाला मंजुला,
receiving his posthumous Mahavir Chakra from the President of India for his dauntless leadership during the terrifying clash with Chinese forces in June 2020. "17 months ago, Colonel Santosh Babu, commanding officer of the 16 Bihar Regiment, had led from the front to evict an insidious encroachment by the Chinese army in Ladakh's remote Galwan River Valley. Colonel Babu, soft-spoken but firm, had exhausted every possibility to calmly persuade the Chinese military encroachers to return to their side. What followed was an unprovoked, hours-long brawl that left 20 Indian men killed in action and nearly as many Chinese soldiers dead too. Stoic and proud in their grief today, both Santoshi and Manjula had calmly spoken about their lost loved one just days after the Galwan clash.
దేశం కోసం నా కొడుకు ఇచ్చిన కానీ తల్లిగా బాధపడుతుంది ఒకడే బాబు నాకు.
As a citizen of India, as a defense family person, I feel proud of my son. I feel proud of my son.
उनको तो जवाब देना है और जीत के वापस आना है देश में कि मेरा ये.
The brave officer's wife, joined by the families of other Galwan heroes, also visited Delhi's National War Memorial on Tuesday ahead of the investiture ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Colonel Santosh Babu had made the supreme sacrifice along with 19 other men from the 16 Bihar and 2 artillery units. Posthumous decorations to the fallen heroes include 4 Vir Chakra and 15 Sena medals for gallantry. The names of Colonel Santosh Babu and his 19 braves were also recently added to the Rezangla Military Memorial in Chushul, Ladakh, a tribute to the manner in which a small force of Indian men staved off a numerically superior and unprovoked Chinese assault, while preserving Indian integrity. As the braves of Galwan receive their awards, a second winter has blown into Ladakh, reminding both countries that the world's biggest military standoff continues for 18 months and counting. While troops have since disengaged from the Galwan Valley, the Chinese received an unexpected bloody nose in the Galwan clash, including the death of Colonel Santosh Babu's Chinese counterpart, commanding officer Chen Hongjun, and well over a dozen PLA troops. But the standoff itself is far from over. And the families of those who laid down their lives to preserve India's sovereignty will be watching as this war of giants continues. Bureau Report, India Today.
We're very privileged on Battle Cry to be joined by Mrs. Santoshi Babu. She is the wife of Colonel Santosh Babu, the proud wife of the officer who gave his life in the Galwan Valley clash. Madam, thank you for being with us here on Battle Cry. My first question to you is, as you receive that award, your feelings, your sentiments as you walk down to receive your brave husband's Mahavir Chakra.
It's really a very proud moment to me and my family. We are feeling very proud that he got second highest Gallantry Award by his sacrifice. It's giving me more strength to carry my life ahead.
Madam, what has the last year been like? How have you and your family, you have two young children, coped with this loss, even as the entire country has rallied behind you and your husband?
We are not forget him because physically he is not with us, but his memories, his thoughts and his guidance always with us. In that way we are going, we coped up like that only. हमको ये बताया गया कि जब भी कुछ भी हो तो हम देश के लिए सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया है, सेल्फलेस सैक्रिफाइस किया है उन्होंने, तो उसके लिए हमको वो बात सुन के जितना मतलब दुख आता है फिर लेटर भी जस्ट आई फील कुछ नहीं, ही डिड अ ग्रेट सर्विस फॉर नेशन, सो आई फील दैट्स अ वेरी प्राउड मोमेंट फॉर मी. सो वो रख के मन में मैं आगे बढ़ती हूँ. मुझे ये बात, वो देश के लिए सेवा किया है, बस यही एक बात है, मुझे बहुत गर्व फील होता है. जब भी वो याद तो हमेशा है, तो जब भी मोमेंट आई फील हिम. सो इनकी सैक्रिफाइस, इनकी ब्रेवरी, उनकी देख के फिर मुझे बहुत गर्व का बात होती रहती है.
And my final question to you, madam, is, as we thank you, what would Colonel Santosh Babu's message and your own message to young Indians who've been inspired by his valor, what would your message be to them, ma'am?
I've already told that it's a great opportunity to serve for nation. It is won't get, and सबको नहीं मिलता है ये वाली मौका. Of course, I know whoever is working in defense or services में सबको बहुत प्रेरणा होता है कि ये देश के लिए सर्विस करना बहुत सौभाग्य है. तो गर्व बात हो सकता है, तो आप मोटिवेट ऐसे हो सकता है, हम देश के लिए जो भी करना है, तो इट्स गिव मी रियली प्राउड.
You remember that unforgettable image of Nithika Dhondial standing with a stoic expression over the casket of her husband, the brave Indian Army officer, Major Vibhuti Dhondial. He was killed in action fighting terrorists post the Pulwama attack in 2019. And Nithika, once a banking professional, decided that she will continue her husband's journey and join the army. And that's why at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, she was in uniform to receive her husband's posthumous Shaurya Chakra.
मेजर विभूति शंकर डोंडियाल ने अदम्य साहस, असाधारण बहादुरी एवं अनुकरणीय निस्वार्थ सेवा का प्रदर्शन करते हुए भारतीय सेना की गौरवशाली परंपराओं में अपना सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया.
An image that should be emblazoned in the mind of every Indian. Lieutenant Nithika Dhondial, commissioned just 6 months ago into the Indian Army, marching up to receive a Shaurya Chakra on behalf of her husband, Major Vibhuti Shankar Dhondial, who was killed in action fighting terrorists in the aftermath of the 2019 Pulwama attack. Along with her was the deceased Bravehearts' mother. The two Vir Naris, an image of grit born from heartbreak and loss. In 2019, Major Vibhuti Shankar Dhondial had exhibited unparalleled valor and exceptional leadership qualities in various operations, resulting in the elimination of 5 terrorists and recovery of 200 kilograms of explosive material. On 17th February of that year, 3 days after the devastating Pulwama terror attack, during a cordon and search operation, Major Dhondial was fired upon by terrorists hiding in a cowshed, resulting in multiple gunshot injuries to him. Despite being severely injured and exhibiting utter disregard to his personal safety, the officer crawled closer to the cowshed, managing to kill 1 terrorist before succumbing to his injuries at the operation site. His courage and sacrifice was recognized with the posthumous Vir Chakra that his wife and mother received today. Images of a stoic, brave Nithika watching over her husband's casket would go viral in the days that followed. Her image, one of calm, grit and resolve. But what the cameras didn't capture was a decision Nithika had made there and then, to give up her life as a banking professional and to instead continue the journey of her husband. They had been married for just months. An entire lifetime of togetherness had been devastated in the line of duty. And so Nithika decided that Vibhuti's journey in uniform would not end. In May this year, after 6 months of training, 30-year-old Nithika was proudly commissioned into the Indian Army as Lieutenant Nithika Dhondial, an officer in uniform just like her husband. In Lieutenant Nithika shines the eternal flame of her husband and every unknown soldier, a path of grief to a path of glory. Every Indian salutes this fearless couple today. Bureau Report, India Today.
An absolute legend within his unit, Commando Subhedar Sanjeevkumar of the 4 Para Special Forces will never ever be forgotten in his unit and never forgotten in the army. And that's why when he was honored and his wife Sujata was there to receive his Kirti Chakra, we decided this is a story that every Indian citizen must know.
भारतीय सेनाओं की सर्वोच्च परंपराओं का निर्वहन करते हुए राष्ट्र रक्षा में अपना सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिया सुबेदार संजीव कुमार की पत्नी श्रीमती सुजाता देवी.
His wife Sujata receiving his posthumous Kirti Chakra from the President of India for his fearless leadership and sacrifice in a hunt for terrorists in April last year. "19 months ago, Subhedar Sanjeevkumar, a senior commando with the Indian Army's elite 4 Special Forces, had led from the front to hunt down a group of Pakistani terrorist infiltrators in the forbidding, snow-blown heights of North Kashmir. A seasoned Special Forces operator, Subhedar Sanjeevkumar was leading 2 squads of commandos on the hunt. The operation had proven that the COVID pandemic and India's national lockdown at the time would be used by Pakistan's deep state to take advantage and push in more terrorists. In a hair-raising hunt for the terrorists across snow gorges and crevasses, a tragic turn of events led Subhedar Sanjeevkumar fearlessly entering the line of fire to rescue 2 younger commandos who had accidentally slipped into harm's way. The end result? All 4 terrorists were eliminated. But the cost to Subhedar Sanjeev's squad was unthinkable. The soldier himself, along with 4 other commandos of the 4 Para Special Forces, were killed in action. In combat that was at fearsome close quarters. Hailing from Himachal Pradesh's Bilaspur, Subhedar Sanjeev was a fearless commando who leaves behind his wife Sujata and son Kanishk. The loss of the 5 commandos, including Subhedar Sanjeev, came as a huge shock to the elite special forces, but only made them double down and become even more fearsome and dauntless in operations. Subhedar Sanjeevkumar's memory will remain at his home and in the hearts of his fellow soldiers and on the snow-blown slopes of Kupwara. Bureau Report, India Today.
सुबेदार संजीव कुमार की पत्नी श्रीमती सुजाता।
In a stream of unforgettable and heartbreaking images, there was one perhaps that numbed people like no other. And that was the image from the investiture ceremony of Sara Begum of Kashmir. She was there to receive her brave son, Bilal Ahmed Magre's posthumous Shaurya Chakra for his absolute courage in a counter-terror operation.
श्री बिलाल अहमद मागरे बारामूला में विशेष पुलिस अधिकारी के रूप में कार्यरत थे।
A mother turns emotional, struggling to hold back tears, but standing strong for her son.
सर्च ऑपरेशन चलाया गया।
This is Sara Begum, mother of Jammu and Kashmir SPO Bilal Ahmed Magre.
निरस्त करने के लिए श्री बिलाल अहमद मागरे ने स्वेच्छा से इस अभियान में हिस्सा लिया।
Receiving the Shaurya Chakra, the country's third highest peacetime Gallantry Award, conferred on her son for his supreme sacrifice. Bilal Ahmed Magre died in the line of duty in an anti-terror operation in 2019 while engaging terrorists and evacuating civilians. Magre continued fighting valiantly despite being seriously injured, an ultimate act of bravery that saved many lives. After Sara Begum received the award from President Ram Nath Kovind, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, moved by the emotionally charged moment, was seen consoling Magre's mother. India salutes Bilal Ahmed Magre, who laid down his life for his motherland. Bureau Report, India Today.
Another incredible image from the honouring ceremony at Rashtrapati Bhavan was that of young Akriti Sood, who had been married only for a short time to Major Anuj Sood, who gave his life, killed in action, rescuing civilians from a terrorist encounter crossfire in Handwara last year. Her image has reached millions across the country and across the world.
मैं जानती हूँ समय बहुत मुश्किल है, पूछना अलग हो जाता है, लेकिन कैसा महसूस कर रही हैं आप शौर्य चक्र लेने के बाद में?
हमें बहुत गर्व है उनके ऊपर। काश वो होते यहाँ पे तो और भी अच्छा लगता, हम और खुश हो सकते थे इस को लेके, लेकिन बहुत बहुत गर्व की बात है। If you'd like to add.
एक्चुअली जैसे आकृति ने बोला, अगर अनुज यहाँ होता तो इसका तो और भी मज़ा आता, बट वी वेरी प्राउड ऑफ हिम बिकॉज ऑफ हिम हमको ये सब मिल रहा है, लाइक ये सब
ये सम्मान मिल रहा है,
वी गेटिंग टू डू थिंग्स एंड वी गेटिंग टू या
एवरीथिंग,
बट इट्स टफ। आज उसकी याद भी
बहुत आ रही है।
कैसा गुजरा है वो पल, क्योंकि हमारे मन में बहुत सी भावनाएं होती हैं, हम उनको समेट के रखते हैं, लेकिन जब हमें सम्मानित किया जाए तो एक अलग भावना आती है। तो अगर आप कुछ कहना चाहती उनसे तो क्या कहती?
कि I'm very very proud of him. I'm so proud of him and I'm thankful to him for giving us this opportunity, this respect, this honor, this gratitude. क्योंकि उनके बिना ये कुछ भी possible नहीं था. So I'm thankful to him and I'm so proud of him from the bottom of my heart.
And finally, there's Abhinandan Varthaman. He needs no introduction, of course. The man who shot down a Pakistani fighter on February 27, 2019 after the Balakot airstrikes and then was himself brought down over POK, taken captive and then returned to India. Well, he's been in the line of duty ever since, hasn't really had a day of rest, and he's still flying fighter planes. And he was at the investiture ceremony as Group Captain Abhinandan Varthaman to receive his Vir Chakra.
विंग कमांडर वर्तमान अभिनंदन ने अपनी व्यक्तिगत सुरक्षा की परवाह न करते हुए अपने कर्तव्य के प्रति असाधारण समर्पण तथा शत्रु के सामने अदम्य साहस और शौर्य का प्रदर्शन किया। ग्रुप कैप्टन वर्तमान अभिनंदन।
Applause flooding the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The true tiger stepped up to be honoured by the President today. Abhinandan Varthaman, who flew a MiG-21 Bison into a fearsome dogfight over the LOC the morning after the 2019 Balakot airstrikes, was decorated today with the Vir Chakra, India's third highest wartime gallantry medal. No memories need refreshing when it comes to Abhinandan or Abhi to his mates in the Air Force. He exploded into India's consciousness at midday on February 27, 2019, when news broke that he'd been shot down over Pakistan-occupied Kashmir after scoring his own kill of a marauding Pakistani jet. Over the next 48 hours, Pakistan would embarrass itself before the world as a barbaric nation that simply couldn't be trusted with captives in a conflict. They bloodied him, bruised him, beat him, but not for a moment did Abhinandan flinch. The files on his time in Pakistan remain classified, but we know that he carried himself with dignity, a professional light touch. Owing in no small part to the savage self-goals by Pakistan's merciless ground forces, Indian and world pressure ensured Abhinandan walked back across the border to India in less than 48 hours. Back in his country, Abhinandan earned himself a few weeks of rest before he was back in the saddle of MiG-21s and Su-30s at a frontline airbase in Rajasthan. Not far from the border, as you can imagine, he was an instant hero with his men. But the sensitive nature of the dogfight has meant that Abhinandan has lived largely in the shadows, quietly carrying on his duties, never appearing before the media or giving interviews, and barred from any public engagements of any kind. In September 2019, Abhinandan briefly appeared to fly a MiG-21 sortie along with then Air Force Chief at the Pathankot Air Base. Earlier this year, Abhinandan was promoted to the rank of Group Captain, equivalent to a colonel in the army.
विंग कमांडर वर्तमान अभिनंदन ने अपनी व्यक्तिगत सुरक्षा की परवाह न करते हुए अपने कर्तव्य के प्रति असाधारण समर्पण तथा शत्रु के सामने.
His appearance in the Rashtrapati Bhavan investiture ceremony is but a brief public blip in the career of a soldier who must, per force, remain out of view, from where he inspires an entire generation of new combat pilots who fought all odds to keep the country safe. He is India's Vir Chakra. Bureau Report, India Today.
India must never forget its military heroes. And here on Battle Cry and India Today, we will do our bit to ensure that you know everything you possibly can about them and their amazing feats of valor. Thank you for watching.